All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez here, your favorite wrestling fan here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling. We talk about all the action inside and outside of the ring. We talk about superstar news, updates, injury statuses, and stuff like that. We talk about promotions from WWE to AEW to TNA to New Japan Professional Wrestling to Stardom to the GCW to the I don't know if I didn't say Ring of Honor already. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1010%. Make sure you guys tune in. All right, just kind of reflect on what we talked about real quick. We had our WWE SmackDown preview slash talk, and now we're going to go ahead and talk about some Ring of Honor and TNA. But before we do absolutely any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat. Obviously, if you have a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are absolutely all ears, 1010%. This show is all about keeping the conversation going, making sure you guys feel like your voice is part of the mix. Don't be shy to drop your thoughts inside that chat. And if you really, really, really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on air, why not use that super chat? It's that $ below the chat box. It guarantees absolutely anything that you guys put inside that box is going to be featured on the show 1010%. Also, it's a great way to kind of keep the lights on in terms of a lot of these podcasts on the GSMC Sports Network. It supports us a lot. So, it's going to keep this content that you guys, absolutely love coming at you, Monday through Friday. So make sure you guys, make sure you guys donate. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you in advance for your attention. First and foremost, definitely love you guys watching the content. And of course, your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep this party going. And, send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. Together we will make sure this podcast is, bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, at the super chat, not your thing. It's all good. Go ahead and hit up the super chat. Go ahead and hit up the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. Shoot me your comments, questions, and concerns. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show. Follow the network here, the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity 1010%. But of course, in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable. Criticisms happen. Disagreement happens. Feedback, whatever it is a gift 1010%. So do not be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. The show is a hell of a lot better with a lot of audience engagement. So don't be shy. Just do it. Make it like an Ike and just do it. All right, so we have my Thursday night wrestling review. Let's start off with some Ring of Honor. Honor Club aired October 24, 2024. So obviously, it was a good episode. I overall, watching the highlights and stuff like that, I thought it was, I thought it was pretty dope. A lot of stars that, obviously shined. There was a recap of, the unfortunate event that Chris Jericho claims the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title on AEW Dynamite, which was, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I think Chris Jericho is, he's aging. He's also getting to that point in his career where I feel like, it's best that he kind of helps a lot of young superstars, get over. So to speak, kind of like John Cena during his, late age and during his late run in WWE. Kind of like when you saw Kurt Angle come back, try to make an in-ring comeback, and then you have people like, Baron Corbin beating him. So that could be a huge reason why I felt like, Chris Jericho could have lost to Mark Briscoe because I don't know. Mark Briscoe was basically the face of Ring of Honor, and it just made sense. And now you have Chris Jericho, the leader of the Learning Tree. I personally feel like that's not exactly what Ring of Honor is or how it should be. Um, he was a great champion. He was a great champion. Over and over again, I expected Mark Briscoe to drop the title to Kyle Fletcher, maybe to, like Roderick Strong, the Beast Mortos. There was a couple of matches I was like, all right, this is it. All right, no, this is it. But he got you to like the stuff he does inside the ring, the way he cuts promos just makes audiences just kind of fall in love with him. And I got to be honest, I became a huge Mark Briscoe fan. Him dropping the title to Chris Jericho, I didn't like it. I didn't like it whatsoever. Maybe Mark Briscoe is expecting to take some time away from professional wrestling, but I feel like something kind of has to give. But Chris Jericho, and I'm not trying to throw shade at Chris Jericho. Overall, I feel like AEW Dynamite, or AEW as a whole, wouldn't be where they were today without Chris Jericho. Obviously, maybe that's a little bit of a an extended hand there. I definitely think he played a pivotal role once when AEW was starting to, get their feet off the ground to become a wrestling promotion that was actually worth the damn, kind of watching or, kind of giving a crap for. When a lot of people saw Chris Jericho, it was like, all right, I know this guy from WWE. This guy was, a hot hit. He used to wrestle in WCW. And, Chris Jericho, he's a walking human. He could be a heel. He could be a heel, and he can be the greatest heel in the world. But then he can be a babyface, and you can't help but to like him. You know what I mean? Right now, the kind of character that he has right now is this condescending babyface, where he's a heel, but he's like right in your face. Kind of heel where he's like, you know what? I know people hate me, so I'm gonna soak up all the criticisms. I'm gonna soak up all the backhanded compliments, and I'm like, oh, thanks, guys. Thank you. Oh my God, I love you too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, it's a different approach of, how Ring of Honor will be kind of dictated through the shows. I gotta be honest, it does kind of open up different storylines through Ring of Honor because Mark Briscoe was a babyface. He was a babyface, and now Chris Jericho, who plays a babyface, but in reality, he's a heel with Big Bill, with the Brian Keith. So this obviously opened up a whole new bevy of storylines of maybe potential superstars that could hold the Ring of Honor World Championship. Maybe this is just. They were like, you know what, Mark Briscoe, and he did. He had a great run as the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship title holder, but anybody going against Chris Jericho is going to be heavily favored. They're going to be easily marketable as the babyface, and if they win, their career literally jumps off overnight. So maybe they might have some plans with the younger superstar winning the championship, but obviously that's going to be probably foretold within the next couple of months here. All right, so next we have the Gates of Agony. Khan and Toa Leona defeated the infantry, and I gotta be honest, I'm a little surprised. Right now you have Gates of Agony just running rampant all over Ring of Honor and also AEW. The leader of Gates of Agony, obviously Brian Cage. He's the new Ring of Honor World Television Champion, and the infantry, trying to get their feet off the ground, trying to show that they are still a worthy enough tag team kind of competitor. They kind of remind me of of the New Day on Monday Night Raw. Like, you know what I mean? They're not so much of a past thought that they should not be appreciated for being a great tag team with the snap of their fingers. Obviously they're in every match. They could win the titles, but ultimately it's not that they get in each other's way. And sometimes things, obviously what's going on with Ring of Honor right now, I feel like they're kind of highlighting a lot of the heels right now. But I don't know, the infantry, obviously they're great inside the ring. I would have no opposition for them winning the tag team championships. But I don't know, it's just I don't know, it's just kind of crazy. Obviously, like the champions, you have the baby faces, so maybe that's the reason why they didn't pick up the dub. That's the only logical reason why I feel like they didn't pick up the dub tonight. Moving on, we have Reina Isis defeats Viva Van. I feel like Viva Van, kind of she's a great wrestler. She's a great wrestler. She needs. I don't really think she needs much of a push, but I know she kind of seems like she's fallen off lately. Like I don't know if Ring of Honor, the creative team, or the head of executive officer or whatever they do or whatever they have over there is like, you know what, I'm not really high on Viva Vance, so we're just going to kind of push her to the wayside, but. Ultimately, I feel like she could be somebody in the future of holding the title, the women's television championship. Don't ever count her out. Layla Hirsch made her Ring of Honor return after being sidelined due to an injury, where she vowed to finally win gold in Ring of Honor. Rocky Romero defeated Brandon Cutler, Lee Johnson, and EJ Unduka defeated Jaya Jwell. I'm just kidding. No, Brett and Brett Hankins. Oh wow! All right, cool. Ring of Honor throwback, Ring of Honor World, Women's Championship match. We have Athena going against Mercedes Martinez via pinfall. Billy Starks was in the ring to welcome Lexi Nier and the Ring of Honor Women's World Champion Athena for Athena's Ring of Honor title celebration for having the longest title run in Ring of Honor history. Nier had a dance team, but Athena was frustrated by the celebration being lackluster and said she wanted, Ja Rule involved before taking offense that no one from Ring of Honor Women's Division was here and that her parents missed out due to a surgery. Athena said that she was not overrated but rather underappreciated and took offense with the crowd and Ring of Honor not appreciating her before saying that it was all Billy Stark's fault. Stark said she was done before leaving the ring and walking out of the arena. Nair introduced a spinner belt, but that led, to Abaddon's appearance. She, raptured Nair under the ring and hit the Black Dahlia on Athena before throwing the celebration cake on Athena. Damn, that's once again, leading up to a nice little match between Billy Starks and Athena. I feel like if you have to have anybody dethrone Athena, it's got to be Billy Starks. She was a great Ring of Honor World Women's Champion. I got to be honest, she was great. At the time she was with MIT or whatever, I think it was MIT. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. I like her. I like her. She's been on a couple of my, women's wrestling power rankings. I feel like she definitely has absolutely everything there is to become a successful professional wrestling, especially in women's division, and she could become the new Ring of Honor World Women's Champion. That's a possibility. That'd be amazing for her, to be honest. Ring of Honor Men's World Television Championship match. Brian Cage defeated Commander, obviously. Much of was not much of a surprise because I feel like Brian Cage, he's getting the push that he most definitely deserves. I like Cage. I feel like he's great. Former FTW champion, and it's just kind of cool to kind of see him. Kind of get back into the swing of things because before then it seemed like he was mostly, kind of I don't know. It just didn't seem like it just kind of, didn't really seem like it made sense. All right, so now we're going to talk about some TNA Impact, and I'm trying to pull up my notes, and it doesn't necessarily seem like it's going to happen. Having some technical difficulties. Let's see if I can refresh the screen here. TNA Impact. Sorry, excuse me. And that doesn't really seem like I'm getting any Wi-Fi here. You gotta love it once when technology ultimately fails you. Uh, kind of like a middle finger, kind of like a Stone Cold Steve Austin middle finger to basically like it's supposed to help us, but it's not. I'm just kidding. No, moving on. Okay, so we're gonna talk about some TNA Impact. The Call Your Shot Scrambler, Frankie Kazarian, versus AJ Francis, Sammy Callahan, Laredo Kid, Jake Something, and Jason Hooch. The winner was AJ Francis. The former digital media champion. I don't hate this. I feel like AJ Francis, he's a huge, but then again, I don't know. I just don't feel like people dislike him. But he's a heel, but at the same time, whenever I seem like, whenever I watch his promos, I know he just seems like he's kind of like a dude out there, kind of like a Braun Breaker on Monday Night Raw. He was like, I'm going to try to win some championships, and if I have to insult the fans here, I'm just kidding, no. But if I have to do it here and there, it's okay. It's okay. But AJ Francis is, he'd be a great, obviously you had two baby faces going at it at Bound for Glory. Frankie Kazarian, who he will draw. He's at the number one spot because he lost a match. Josh Alexander defeated Jonathan Grisham. Alexander, once again, haven't really heard too much of his talks with his TNA contract. Thinking about maybe possibly leaving TNA, which I think would be a giant mistake. I would love to see TNA, executive officers to kind of go after him and get this contract done. Wendy Chu with Rosemary defeats Jody Threat. The system, um, you know, are defeated by the Hardys and some ABC action. We also had this contract signing, and it's, I feel like Joe Hendry was, although, he was sitting with Jordan Grace. He was sitting with Jordan Grace in her challenger match with Slamovich. And then Frankie Kazarian obviously, entered the contract signing. And it just, I don't know, it just didn't really necessarily seem like, I personally don't think it's going to be a big, like, caliber main event with Frankie Kazarian as the special guest referee. We talked about it yesterday, and I was like, you know what? Leaving Kazarian as the special guest referee, I feel like ultimately kind of hurts both superstars, more or less Joe Hendry. And this might be like like an out. It'd be like, you know what? We need to keep the title on Nick. Joe's going to be a future. He's young, he's talented, he's an international wrestling sensation, and he's well known without the with throughout the entertainment industry. So but then I just would I don't know, I just love to see Joe Hendry win, like, you know what I mean, like, Nick Nemeth picked up he picked up his TNA World Heavyweight Championship at TNA Slammiversary. But I don't know. I'm a Joe Hendry guy. Like I said, maybe I'm blinded by my fandom here. But overall, I just want it to be a good match. I don't want the match to end up with someone being screwed by Frankie Kazarian. I'm just I'm done with that. I feel like that'd be awful. All right, guys. So hey, do not go anywhere. We're gonna jump on into our third segment. We have some NXT Halloween Havoc happening on Saturday, and we're gonna talk about that when we return. So hey, do not go anywhere.